Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I believe we are at September 28th, 2023. Let's go ahead and do a quick review from yesterday so we can get into the pre-market for this morning. I will say up front, this is probably going to be a pretty quick pre-market because really nothing has changed since yesterday. So we'll talk about that in a second. But let's go ahead and take a look. So yesterday, the idea was we were expecting the market to continue to sell off, assuming we found a good resistance off one of our areas. And what happened was in the overnight session before we did our pre-market, we came right into the scaffolding and broke it by 2 ticks. And then that began the sell-off there. So that was basically it for the bulls after all those signals we saw from the day before, the lows of the day before there. And I did tell you that I expected the market to come down, retest yesterday's low, or maybe even go ahead and break on through. And we were targeting down where? To a couple pockets here. We talked about the top end of that retracement at 43.08. And then we talked very specifically about this area at 42.92 to 42.93 half. Those were 2 targets that we had to the downside. And then from there, we were looking at deeper pushes down to some of our other areas. So let's take a quick look and see. And what do you know? Beautiful opportunity to short the Hopel here on 2 occasions out of the open. Within the first half hour of the open, you could have got short and never took any heat. And the market sold off. Where did we bounce? What do you know? Off of our scaffolding at 43.13 for the second to largest bounce of the day. And then rejected right off VWAP. So for me, it was a really easy day. Ended up getting short in a couple accounts and taking profit all the way down to 4,300, which was my target. So was able to capture this whole down move with a whole bunch of contracts, had a really good morning. And so we came down once the rejection on VWAP happened. And again, this was to the tick. There wasn't even a breakthrough VWAP. And then we sold off and continued going. Again, we got the second, probably after that first major bounce off our first expected support area, the next area was going to be that retracement at 43.08. Unfortunately, they did go ahead and push it down right to the close of the day before. And rather than bouncing at 08, they bounced at 05 half. So just a couple of ticks below it there, but did bounce nearly to the tick off the low of the day before. Not a surprising reaction that we see over and over again when the market comes back to test a previous low. You get some type of reaction, but in this case, it was very heavy and it was a short-lived bounce for about 10 points. Again, another opportunity to capture a 5 to 10 point trade off of that level. And then it continued to sell off. And then the next major rotation for the bulls was right inside of the pocket that I warned you guys about. I told you this was more than likely going to be the area where we saw a larger bounce by the bulls. And again, the scaffolding was 42.92. The market bounced at 42.92 quarter. Okay, so 1 tick in front of that, and then we had our major retracement at 42.93 half. So literally right inside of that pocket is where we got that next attempt by the bulls to bounce. And as you can see, didn't quite get very far. It would have been just about a 10, 11 point bounce. And then from there, continued to sell off. And then right at the end of the day, this happens very, very often. We got this really nice attempt to break out back to the highs. So unfortunately, did not bounce right off one of our levels. But we got this really nice push. And actually, I think I lost my spot there. Let's go back. It wasn't off of one of our levels. It actually was kind of, in my opinion, just in the middle of nowhere down here. It was basically 50% between the 2 scaffolding levels, nearly to the tick there. So right at 50% between the 2 major areas of support and resistance, we get the bounce. And then at the end of the day, this really strong rally into the close. Now, we never were able to make it back above the Hopel. We weren't able to get up back through 50% of the day before or any of those key areas, but it was a pretty nice impulsive move there to finish the day out. And then as you can see at the end of the day, they pulled back right back into the low of the day before and popped out. So, like I said, really easy morning. If you were trading, you had beautiful opportunities off Hopel, beautiful opportunities off VWAP, and from there, you should have been short for the rest of the day, being able to capture this move. So that was the idea yesterday. And as you can see in our overnight session here, there is just a total chop fest. There's nothing going on right now. I don't want to do anything inside of the low of this overnight session or the high of this overnight session, so that we can start to get a clue as to what the market wants to do this morning. Of course, you always have to be aware that even when you get a breakout to either side, it could be a fake out. So you have to be quick and nimble to react to what's happening. So right now, really nothing going on, nothing that I would like to trade right now. So let's go ahead and take a look. Like I said, this will probably be a very quick pre-market because everything that we were talking about yesterday is still in play in terms of potential patterns and signals on the higher time frames. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our 60. We'll go up to the daily here and we'll take a look.